What's up, everyone? It's Bob. I've come to cover the NBA today. Just to give you my thoughts on what I think about the conference standings as of 12/23/2022, so right before Christmas. And kind of where my comments on where each team's at. So I'm just gonna go over the standings and just look at which your conference team's at and look and just give you my thoughts on it and how I feel where each Eastern Conference team and Western Conference team should go. So here we go. So first in the conference is the Milwaukee Bucks at 22-9. The first thought that comes to them is Giannis, of course. I think we're at the point now where we could say Giannis is probably the best player in the NBA. Like anyone who kind of denies it, they talk about the skill argument. Like, come on now. You know, this guy can. I mean, this guy doesn't have. I don't think Milton back yet, and he's still dominating and has his team at the top of the East. And he's always shows up every night. He's consistent every night, puts up great numbers every night, plays offense and defense every night. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't he be the best player in the league right now? People that prefer KD right now, I'll say KD's obviously more skilled, but he doesn't have the defensive integrity that Giannis has, or maybe not even mental toughness, in my opinion. Second in the conference is the Celtics, and Boston has been really good this season. Both Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum have been playing at awesome levels. Jason Tatum has been at MVP level. So I think that Jason Tatum, maybe he has found it this year. Maybe he has ascended to, you know, past being a good, star player, like all-star level player, which he was on track to do so last playoffs when I was watching him. But his problem last playoff was that I think in the finals everything kind of caught up to him, the fatigue, the moment, everything, and he had a terrible NBA Finals. And Jalen Brown had just been consistent, man. He's kind of been underrated because he consistently produces for Boston. And some people make the argument that Jalen Brown's better than Jason Tatum. I think Tatum just has a higher ceiling because of his size. Like he's just a little bit bigger, a little bit more better at ball handling than Jason Tatum. I mean Jalen Brown. Jason Tatum is. He's a little bit better at ball handling than Jalen Brown. So I think that when we compare the two, I think that obviously the alpha should be Jason Tatum, but I wouldn't be surprised Jalen Brown took control. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he has a claim to it. This Celtics team, I mean I thought without Ime Udoka, honestly, they were kind of looking at struggle a little bit, but obviously these players they went to NBA Finals. They're battle tested. Like they're not gonna just give up on the season just because their coach went away. Um, my thoughts aside on the Ime Udoka thing, I don't want to get into that because I feel like it's not a part of the topic. But I'll say this: the Celtics have a shot here to if they can get the first seed in the East going into the playoffs and get home court. You know, get home court this playoffs once again. If they can supersede the Bucks here, they're only half a game back. I think that they have a shot at have a shot at kind of running through the East again. The Nets are a threat, but as long as the Nets, I feel like they don't get home court, I think the Celtics are in good shape. And now we go to our next team, the Cavaliers, who have acquired Donovan Mitchell over the offseason. And because of that, they now have newfound, I guess, championship expectations. I mean, they're a young team. They're trying to build something. I'm happy for the Cavs, post LeBron, because people kind of shit on the Cavs without LeBron. And it's like the Cavs haven't been that bad at a franchise without LeBron. I think it's more about okay, every time LeBron's kind of left them, they've kind of been sucked out of assets, and they have to rely on just tanking to get better again. So when you have no assets and no good players on your team, you're going to be terrible. But regardless, the Cavs this season have been somewhat impressive. They've played some tough games. Donovan Mitchell looks good. He looks refreshed. My issue with Donovan Mitchell is that he's a little bit too small for a shooting guard. So it's in playoff games, he is he can be compromised defensively. But this Cavs team will be a tough out for a lot of these Eastern Conference teams. They're a feisty young team with excellent offensive potential, and they have Darius Garland as well, who's also a great facilitator. Evan Mobley, the young player, the rookie from last year, he's been impressive. Harris Levert, so they have guys that can in a playoff in a 7 game series. If that team gets hot, I can see him knocking off the Bucks, Celtics, Nets in the 7 game series. But like they would have to get really hot. It have to be led by Donovan Mitchell, and then the defense would have to creep back, like creep towards like borderline elite. Do I think that happens? Probably not. I think they get bounced out of the second round by the Celtics or Bucks, or maybe even the Nets. But because I feel like this Cavs team, they're high octane, but if they're slowed down in the series against a team that has a good half court offense, a really good half court offense, they're gonna be fucked. That brings me to my next team, the Nets. Now, early in the season, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like wondering, okay, how bad is this gonna get before they trade Kyrie and the Jet before the deadline? And with Kyrie's situation, with his comments about the quote unquote anti-Semitic comments, even though I don't feel like they're really quote unquote anti-Semitic, and I think it was overblown by the media. But the media does that a lot, especially ESPN. That's why I don't watch them. But Kyrie is been okay. Like I mean, not okay. Let me not say he's been okay. He's been good. Like he's been a great since he's came back from his little suspension, and the Nets have kind of gelled. Like, KD's playing well. The others are playing well. I mean, you see they're fourth in the conference right now. Like they're playing well. I mean, kind of keeping up on these teams. They've won the 7 straight in a row. They've won. This top three teams, they don't button up. The Nets will catch them. And that's what home court is dangerous because at the end of the day, they do have Kyrie and um and KD. And I got those guys with home court in the playoffs. If they get hot, you know, I don't think you can really beat both those guys getting hot in a 7 game series. You're gonna have like a one of the efforts that Boston had last year. So, the Nets keep it up. Like it kind of disappointed me earlier in the season, but now I'm impressed. The 76ers. 76ers. Um I don't trust this team. I think this team is like I don't trust Doc Rivers. Uh I don't trust Joel Embiid. I don't trust James Hardhead. And that's my nickname for James Harden, by the way. James Hardhead. The reason why I call him James Hardhead is because he's hard headed. You know, doesn't come into before this season, I guess. Multiple instances of this guy not coming into the season in shape, wore a damn fat suit to get out of Houston, even though Houston did everything for this kid, and he still didn't. He still felt like, oh, they do me dirty, so let me go leave and make a whole hullabaloo about getting traded. Like, dude, you know, like the Houston team sacrificed everything to surround you with guys. They brought in Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, like they brought in everybody for you, and you still couldn't get the job done. You still couldn't get past the Warriors. Granted, I guess with Chris Paul, you're facing a quote unquote the best team of all time with the Warriors with KD. But you did take that team to 7, and the next year you couldn't even like without KD you couldn't even get 7 games back again. So no. But until something changed with the team, I need to see something change, like within James Harden or Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, he just gasses out too quickly in the playoffs. I don't think he's I don't think he should be playing like actually honestly 60 games. I think the 76ers, honestly, if they could find a way to give him some like mid-season rest and have him only play like 45 games somehow and still like be like a top 5 seed in the East, then that would be cool because this guy, if he plays more than 60 games, is almost certain that he will gas out in the playoffs. It's almost certain he'll gas out, and then he'll start pouting. So they start talking about, oh, the Raptors are defending me too hard, and like I'm getting guarded a little bit too hard. Like, come on, that guy, like he acts like he's this Philly guy, like he's Philly and he's tough, but I see through you, Joel. You're pretty soft. That's just my take on it. Number 6, my New York Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan, so I don't know how to feel about this. Jalen Brunson coming in was I felt a good pickup by the Knicks front office. feel like people kind of overblown it. Like me, us bringing him in, like, oh, we were supposed to bring in like what another like superstar. Like it's like every offseason teams expect us to bring in these superstars when we everybody knows that every NBA owner pretty much hates. I mean, not every NBA owner, every NBA player hates our owner, James Dolan, and James Dolan is a stench that covers his franchise and prevents his franchise from reaching the peaks that it could. So we have to, because of that, because we don't have a good reputation, despite being a major market, we have to build from the ground up, like a small market. And we're gonna have to sign and take chances on players like a Jalen Brunson when he proves to be good enough, too good to be stay on a team like the Mavericks because he's a role player he's seen as. We gotta take a chance on him, and so far he's looked good. He's been efficient this season. He's been an efficient guard. Not the best point guard in the East, but like been efficient. You could say he's been top five this season, and that's saying a lot when you can have a top five guard that's efficient, that's consistent, that doesn't get hurt. In the lineup makes everything better. Knicks needed point guard, like they needed a point guard that can play. You know, maybe it was a slight overpay for him, but like to get good point guard play in today's NBA, honestly, you're gonna have to pay for it. You're gonna have to pay for it. It's not like big men where you can kind of slide them in and do the small ball and match them up. Like no, get good guard play in today's NBA. You're gonna to get good guard play, you're gonna have to pay. You have to pay. If you didn't draft it, you're gonna have to pay. My concern maybe is RJ Barrett. I'm kind of disappointed that he hasn't broke out as a superstar, but I mean, some guys are not made to be superstars. They don't have that edge on them, and when he kind of act like he has that edge, but he doesn't have the edge on him, which is okay. I'm satisfied with where the Knicks is at. Like I said, until we get lucky with a superstar one day, or we draft a lucky superstar one day, we're gonna be the scrappy team at best, because no NBA superstars want to come to our franchise because James Dolan is the stench. So, you know. Number 7, the Miami Heat. The Fighting Heats, I'd say. Pat Riley's Fighting Heats. This team is fine. They're another one of these scrappy teams. Like last season, they got the first seed. I felt that was kind of fluky anyway. Like you know, the Nets were bad. The Bucks kind of struggled because Middleton got hurt. Celtics were just starting, like they were just coming into their own with a rookie head coach. Like East was kind of wide open, and the Heat are this team that they play very, very good fundamental basketball. Like they're going to do everything right. Eric Spoelstra coaches these guys well, and you know, I don't think like I don't think that like this team ceiling is NBA championship. I think their ceiling was last year. You get lucky, you get to Western Conference Finals, and you play a hard fought 7 game series against a better team, Celtics, which more depth, more star power, better players. That being said, if this Heat team ever gets like a superstar level player added on to all this, then this will definitely be one of the best teams in the league because they would have like the supporting cast a superstar would need to go win. Jimmy Butler. He's a good. I would say Jimmy Butler is on that borderline superstar like on this team, but you know he's not a superstar quite to me. He's like a very, very, very good star player, like all-star level, all-star plus player. I believe there's only 4 superstars in the NBA. Not to digress, but I believe there's only 4, and the 4 superstars go as follows: Giannis, Steph, KD, and I'll give it to. I mean, I can't even give it to Kawhi right now. I'll give it to Luca. I'll give it to Luca because Luca has shown me some things last year. So I only think there's 4 or 5 superstars. The other guys that are on the bubble, like I mean, I guess maybe James Harden at his peak. Um, I'm not gonna say Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, maybe like he's creeping there. Anthony Davis, but the problem with Anthony Davis is that he's not the alpha of his own team. Like he's not the alpha of his own team. He's not a leader. So how can I call a superstar has to be a leader? He has to be an alpha on his team. Can't be a guy that yeah, he puts like 40 and 50 points, but he's a number 2 on his team. Everybody knows the alpha on the Lakers is LeBron. So no, I guess I would put LeBron in the conversation, but he's not winning right now, so I can't really put him at the top four superstars in the NBA. So now to the Hawks. Hawks, kind of same deal. They're kind of like disappointing because they made a trade for DeJounte Murray. But the problem with the Hawks is that like I feel like they may be a little bit too high octane. Um, Trey Lance, I mean, about Trey Lance. I said Trey Young. Sorry, Trey Young is a good. He's a really good guard. I think the issue with him is that his size kind of prevents him from reaching his peak because he's so small. Teams just attack him, and you know there's something called net points that a player scores. And net points is the idea behind net points is like okay, like you score 30, but can you guard your man? Because if you score 30 and your man scored 32 on your head, then you gave up two. You have -2 net points in your opponent's favor, and that's really the story of Trey Lance. Like a lot of these matchups, guards are going off on him. They're dominating the game, getting assists against. They're getting steals. Like what I'm saying, they're doing good things against him. Even when he goes off, like they're still getting like 20, 30, 40 points, and that's a problem. That's a problem when they're going against him. Because he's a liability on defense. It prevents the Hawks team from reaching his ceiling. Not to mention, the supporting cast outside of Dejounte Murray is not that great. I thought they should have traded John Collins a while ago. I think holding on to John Collins doesn't make no sense. He's a tweener that doesn't really have a great outside shot, but he's athletic. Those guys are always tough. So they should have traded him when he had his most value. So Hawks, I don't know what's gonna happen there. They're talking about maybe trading Trey Young. I would think that was a mistake because I think at the end of the day, his offensive potential is too great to trade him. You have to try and build a team around him still, especially because the Hawks gave up a chance at Luka Doncic for 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 Trey Young. So you know you gotta maximize this window from the Hawks. Gotta try and build something. Number 9 in the playing spot, the ninth play in the ninth spot in the East is the Pacers, who honestly I've been impressed. Their coach Rick Carlisle impressing me. Tyrese Halliburton, awesome. I think he's next great guard, pure point guard. Like gets assists, very good court vision, very safe with the ball at the same time as averaging a high level of assists. We haven't seen stuff like that since like Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo. So Halliburton is refreshing to see a guy like that. Benedict Mathurin, I like his moxie. His comments about LeBron are goofy, but honestly I like somebody having moxie like that. Miles Turner is I mean he gets his points in, he gets his blocks in, he gets his stuff in. Um, but do I think that like they shouldn't trade him? I think they should, but I understand they're probably trying to maximize value for him as much as they can. And there were the rumors between the Pacers and the Lakers trading for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, who's also a nice player. I think the Pacers people were kind of like saying, "Oh, why don't the Pacers take this trade or this trade?" And like people have to understand, like these small market teams when they trade these solid players like this, they gotta maximize value because who knows if they're gonna get good players back. A lot of these big market teams like the Lakers like to try and give them duddy players, so they gotta get the draft picks back. It's not like it's not anything crazy. Like they gotta get the draft picks back. For the Raptors, the 10th spot. The Raptors, here's the issue with the Raptors. I like them. I like the way they've kind of built their squad. I like Scotty Barnes. I like Siakam. I like Fred Van Fleet. I like OG Anunoby. I like all these defenders that they got on their roster. Gary Trent Jr. is nice. But these guys don't really stand out outside of Siakam. And Anunoby's kind of on the rise, but Scotty Barnes is still a young player. He's still developing, but I do see the potential that everybody sees in him. You know, I do see the potential. Um, this Raptors team, like right now they're struggling. If they traded Siakam today, I wouldn't be mad at it. I think you do have to get maximize draft picks and get as much capital as you can when you have a player like Siakam. You definitely should trade Van Fleet. I think Van Fleet is kind of shown that he's a very good starting guard on a mediocre team, but like on a championship level team, he'd definitely be a really elite backup point guard, and he'll be like that perfect icing on the top type of player. So I think they should trade Fred Van Fleet, see if you can get a first round pick out of him, which would be nice because he was originally an undrafted player. And I think this Raptors team, Masai Ujiri is a smart GM. He's gonna make the right moves. I think you just continue collecting these talent. Like that's what Masai Ujiri's done since Kawhi Leonard's left and decided to go back to the Clippers. Just continue collecting talent. Continue building this team. See the vision through. Surround Scotty Barnes and I guess Ojude Nobi. Maybe if you trade Siakam, get as much as possible. Get like multiple first round picks. Maybe like three. You know, get that haul that like these teams are getting for these guys. If they're gonna go all in, make sure you get that all in haul from draft picks. Masai Ujiri. But that's really my message to the Raptors. You know, it is what it is. Last year was nice, but this year could happen. When the East is a little bit stronger than normal, Cavs got stronger. Nets are on their shit this year. It's hard to get slip into like the playoffs this year. And the Knicks are also, you know, they've been fighting. It's still way too early because like the first quarter of the season still, but like this is this is just like right now I'm talking about the Bulls, another disappointing team at 11th. This team is interesting. They should they should really consider trading and having the fire sale because it's kind of disappointing. Like last year, they made the playoffs. You think they're building on something. Obviously, they get bounced in the first round by the Bucks, but it's the Bucks. I understand. Thought this year they would build on something, but they really need like a big that's like kind of like a superstar defensively. I would love to see Anthony Davis actually go to the Bulls. I think going back home to his home part of Chicago, where a lot of Lakers fans are claiming they're tired of him being injured all the time. I think it would be nice if the Lakers and Bulls can work out a deal for Anthony Davis. Lakers can probably acquire draft picks and some young players that they need. Maybe DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine to help out LeBron James. I'd rather have Zach LaVine than DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers squad. But like I think this Bulls team definitely need to trade to shake stuff up. They definitely miss Lonzo Ball, his injury. I don't know what's going on with him. Like the knees, like what giving him problems again. Like I don't know what's going on with Lonzo Ball, but like they definitely miss him, and they need a true point out there. You watch him play, you could tell they just need a true point. Io DeSumo and Alex Caruso, they're fine, but like these are backup, these are really good backup type point guards. Like these are not true starting point guards. These are guys that in the playoff series you throw them at like the best guard. You throw these guys at the best guards off the bench to try and see if you can throw a monkey wrench in that best guard's game. But the Bulls, I think they know what they need to do. They need to get to it before the trade deadline. The Wizards at number 12. See, the Wizards are kind of like they're kind of stuck in purgatory right here, or not purgatory. They're kind of stuck in a quagmire because Beal and Kuzma, when they're healthy, are too good to completely tank to the bottom like the Pistons. But you know, at the same time, like they're not going anywhere, winning at 12 and 21. So this is another team that should probably have a fire sale with the Wembanyama kid coming out of he's coming out of France. The French kid, Wembanyama, the freak. I saw a couple highlights of that kid. He looks like he's freaky. I don't blame any team for tanking right now, even though Alan Silver is like trying to discourage it. Like, I wouldn't blame any team tanking right now. Just you're this kind of like you're kind of this mid-market team. You're not really a big market with Washington Wizards. I think they really do need like to get lucky with drafting like a all-world player to become relevant. So if I'm the Wizards, once you get to like 35 games, 40 games, shut down Beal or Kuzma for the season. Maybe I do. I would do that or look for a trade. Now Beal doesn't want to go for some reason because for some reason I guess he likes being a big fish in a small pond. He has that big fish in a small pond obsession. So I guess he likes that. Um, you know, I think they should probably get rid of him. They should probably get rid of Beal and Kuzma. I think maybe I mean I guess you could say Lakers, but like there's also other teams like the Suns could use some more firepower. Uh, uh, I would say shit, the maybe the Bucks. I mean, if they can get Beal, like I don't know, like this team is weird. Like to me, like I don't know where the direction they're trying to go. The GM doesn't know what he wants to do. You're re-signing Beal despite you're not going anywhere. Beal for some reason doesn't want to leave. Just want to take the money. He doesn't probably really care about winning that much. Kuzma for some reason wants to go back to the Lakers. Like they need to figure shit out. I like this team is like kind of irrelevant to me. Magic, Pablo Benchero. That's all I can say. Pablo Benchero and the what's it called? The Wagners. Pablo Benchero and the Wagner brothers. Franz Wagner and is it Mo Wagner? You know, the Wagner brothers, those German brothers, and Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba. You know, that little core that they got right there. Keep on building on it. Jonathan Isaac is supposed to come back at some time this year. Hopefully, he can come back too. That's a nice, long, lengthy lineup with a lot of versatility. They could become something. Machero looks like a future superstar. Well, maybe not say future superstar, but he looks like if he's developed properly, he could become a future superstar. But only properly. He has a nice, smooth game. And, this season's obviously not going to be like the best for them. They're going to probably end up being bad, but like continue collecting talent. If Jonathan Isaac and company can get healthy, one of these years they're going to break out. It takes a little. The NBA is different from like leagues like the NFL, where like young players are supposed to come in and expected to impact right away. Like, you know, in the NBA, like a lot of these young players that come out of college, they're not even really ready for the NBA. They gotta take a year or two to kind of like get their and kind of like their bad habits or trying to average good numbers despite being a bad team out their system. So yeah, this Magic team in 2-3 years, they could be dangerous. I like the way they're looking. Number 14, the Hornets. And Michael Jordan is role. I mean, he's the Michael Jordan meme where he's crying. That's basically how he's feeling about his team right now, the Hornets. This team has been beyond underwhelming. LaMelo Ball, despite showing great flashes of high level offensive play, I mean, like when we're gonna get to the point where we think like when I say this guy is probably not gonna be like a superstar, probably just gonna be a really nice, fun guard that can pass the ball, but like when you ask him to elevate a team around him or be this guy that can be like this MVP type player, I'm not sure. Could be that he's still too young, like he's still trying to kind of like get his bad habits out, get his like I'm a young nigga enjoying the NBA, I average good numbers type of things out his system. But I mean, what the Pistons are, I don't know. I mean, the Hornets are kind of like in this quagmire too. They last year they were they almost like cracked through the play-in, but then they get into the play-in, they get blitzkrieg again. This I think that happened 2 years in a row. They got blitzkrieg in the play-in and got destroyed. Like they obviously have problems fundamentally, and it could stem from Lamelo Ball. Gordon Hayward is kind of like a corpse at this point. Corpse at this point. He's a good player, but like it just like what are we doing with him? Just try and get some draft picks for everyone here, please. Get him to a good team on contender so he can actually play meaningful basketball. Him on the Hornets makes no sense, and I think is holding some of these young players that they need to develop back. Get him out of here. Terry Rozier too, like get these guys out of here, man. Like these guys are not. they're not gonna be guys that lead this Hornets team to a playoff. So you might as well just start playing the young players. Fire sale, please. Fire sale outside of LaMelo Ball. Fire sale. Get as much young talent as possible playing. Maybe look into the G League to see if you can sign some guys, call up some guys, and just embrace the tank. Maybe Michael Jordan. This is part of Michael Jordan's master plan to luck into Victor Wembanyama, and finally the Hornets can become relevant again. The Charlotte Hornets. So keep on doing you, Hornets. Number 15, the Pistons. Um, they just recently shut down Kate Cunningham for the season, so they've kind of also been. They called it quits early. They're trying to tank. This team is so like. This team is so like just weak. Like this team, like this. It doesn't feel like for the last couple years they've been in the same spot, just tanking, mediocre. Like maybe I don't know. This ownership, like this team is kind of like also irrelevant. Like it's like players go to this team, they just die. Like just they go there here to die or something. Like just like, what happened to good old Detroit basketball? Like, Isaiah Thomas is like he's looking at his team like what happened? And yeah, like this team, I'm glad they shut down Kate Cunningham. Like I understand getting Wembanyama could probably change their franchise. I surmise Wembanyama's still not even a lock to be like this awesome player, but if Wembanyama is the guy that everybody's saying he is, like the Pistons at 15 is probably not a bad thing. Let's just say that because they need something. They need some type of spark right now. Like see what Killian Hayes got. See what Jalen Duran got. I think he's on the Pistons. See what these young players got on the Pistons this year. Just play them as many minutes as possible because you have nothing to lose. Let these guys learn through their mistakes and stuff like that. That's how young players are developed now. I don't think it's a healthy way to develop young players, but that's the new norm right now. Just let them play out and develop bad habits and play like shit and lose until finally one year it clicks and like, oh, I'm not supposed to be making these mistakes over and over again. So, that's it with the 15 Pistons at 15. Now on to the Western Conference. Oh, number one, the Nuggets. Look at the Nuggets. They surprised me. I did not expect the Nuggets to be number one here. You know, my thoughts on the Nuggets are as simple as this: like, just continue to get healthy. Um, what's called? What's this guy's name again? My I'm forgetting right now. Jamal Murray. I'm sorry, Jamal Murray. As he continues to get healthy through the season, just continue focusing on that. Obviously, Aaron Gordon, maybe hope that you can get something more from him than just being a solid role player in the playoffs. Jokic, obviously, we all know he's the best, if not the best offensive player in the NBA, like one of the best. Like he's just very efficient, does his job to a perfection. Like just watch Jokic run the point for the Nuggets. Sometimes it's a work of art. Like it's a work of art. Like you can't really think anything else but that. It's a work of art. Work of art. And if you don't think it's a work of art, like you're a hater, in my opinion. So, and that's my take on the Nuggets. They need to get Michael Porter Jr. back. They need to get him healthy. I mean, the risk that we're seeing the risk that the Nuggets took by taking him in the draft, right? Like he was supposed to be a potential number one overall pick, but because of the back issues, like he slid to 15th, and we're seeing the risk. When he's healthy, he's good. He's actually a really good 3-point shooter. I think he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, honestly, in my opinion, when he's healthy. But he's not healthy. Back issues are a major red flag. The fact that they kind of flare up every other like couple weeks now, like or not weeks, but like kind of 2 seasons in a row, they've kind of flared up and kind of derailed the Nuggets season or hurt their season. Been sucky. They really need to help Jokic out because Jokic needs some more support. I think this Nuggets team, if they want to become legit, I've said this for years now, they need to get like a defensive guy. They need to get like a defensive center to play or give Jokic like some help. Maybe like be like situationally put like, and I'm talking like an elite defensive center, like a Mitchell Robinson, uh, Robert Williams type. They need to somehow get that type of player on that team, and that will complete this team. Uh, Bo, He was on this Nuggets team. He got released and sent to the Magic. The Magic are kind of making use of him a little bit. I think the Nuggets probably should have been more patient with him, in my opinion, because kind of like you don't really have a lot of options. You already paid Jokic, you already paid Murray. I think they already paid Porter Jr. too. Like they need to rely on like the draft and finding talent. They can't rely on you know and the trades. They can't rely on like some free agency. Getting some elite guy to come and make this team OP. Yeah. So they need to just continue. But it's good that they're first in the West. At least if they have home court, there's a slight chance they might make a championship run. The Grizzlies, second in the West, same record as the Nuggets, tied for first. Um, John Morant. I mean, this might be the year he actually goes for that MVP. The team around him is really good, but I think he's doing a good job. Um, Desmond Bain, really underrated guy. Awesome 3-point shooter right there. They got the Brandon Clark, the center. Steven Adams getting the boards. I like this Memphis team. The problem with them is that last year in the playoffs, I saw flashes of immaturity, but it's understandable. That was kind of like their first time making that type of deep run, right? Outside, I mean, they made it like the 8 seed the before, but like that was kind of like you're an 8 seed, like you're not expecting much. Last year was the first time they kind of got like I think a top 4 or 5 seed, and they won the first round, chippy first round against the Timberwolves, and then they faced the Warriors and just lost to experience and Steph Curry. So Grizzlies just need to keep on building what they're doing. I think they would benefit from also adding another star level player. Maybe call the Raptors to see if they can get Siakam in the building. See what the Raptors price is on him, or see what the Raptors price on the. I mean, they probably don't need Fred VanVleet, but see what who you can add this trade deadline. Just kick the tires, like just see what's going on. Pelicans. This team is dangerous, man. This team's looking dangerous right now, and they don't really have. I don't think they have Brandon Ingram right now, and they're doing this right now. We saw them a couple nights ago beat the Suns. This team is with Zion Williamson for real. Zion has bought in. I'm very impressed by Zion Williamson. I thought he was flaking on these niggas, but I think last year in the playoffs, Brandon Ingram and company making that run that they made, it made this dude buy in. And with a bought in Zion Williamson is a dangerous sight. The reason why he was number one overall. I'm just saying. A bought in Zion Williamson is a dangerous sight. If he can stay healthy this whole season, I mean, what Western Conference team would want a 7 game series against Zion Williamson led Pelicans with Brandon Ingram as his number two and CJ McCollum as his number three. And you have the surrounding cast and got defenders like Herbert Jones and Alvarado. I don't think any team in the NBA would want to see that. First round, second round. I don't think they want to see that for a 7 game series. That's going to be a grind of a 7 game series for any NBA team. So watch out for the Pelicans. I'm very impressed. They match up well against a lot of these Western Conference teams. Zion is a guy that honestly, when he wants to be, he can probably not be guarded. Watch out for this team. I'm very impressed. Willie Green is doing a great job, the head coach there. The Suns, nice, number 4. But we know the problem with the Suns. I'm still not gonna get over that Game 7 last this last Western Conference playoffs. That was just embarrassing. Game 7 against Luka Doncic. The way the team lost their composure after talking so much shit throughout the whole season, in the playoffs, during the series to Luka Doncic, to get bitched the way he did like that. Like this team is just their soul is done. Like they're finished. Like they're gonna be contending for Western Conference supremacy because they're good in the regular season. They have a nice system ran by their coach Monty Williams that works well in the regular season, but we've seen the postseason. This team is not like when shit gets tougher. Chris Paul and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and the whole team is not mentally tough enough to grind through a series where they really have to grind through. Like they benefit a lot from wide open space. Teams not really play getting up into their grill. You know, this Suns team, if they like right now, what they're four, and the Clippers are five. Like if they match up against a team like the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard fully healthy, they're gonna get swept. Like this team is not off. They're not on anything, man. They're not on anything. And you know, like they better hope that maybe they can overtake the Pelicans because as the season progressed, and or they hope that the Clippers just drop to like the play-in or something. Because if the Suns and Clippers play in the first round, I'm telling you right here, first, right now, as we speak, sweep, sweep. So on to the Clippers. The Clippers are, yeah, I mean, they're a little kind of weird right now because when you watch them, it's like they're kind of look broken on offense, but like they just recently got Kawhi to start playing again. This team is dangerous. They're hanging around in the right spot they need to. They don't need to be first. They just need to be a top five seed, right? They just need to avoid the play-in. This team just needs to avoid the play-in. And in a 7-game series with Kawhi Leonard and fully going and Paul George and Ty Lue with his adjustments, do you really want to face this team in a 7-game series? Saw what Ty Lue did to the fucking Jazz with Kawhi Leonard going down, and he took the damn Suns to 6. Like I think in the play-in is weird. It's tough because it's like a single game and it doesn't fit Ty Lue with his adjustment making in playoff series. But in a 7-game series, though, I don't know if I want to face a Ty Lue. This is the guy that Ty Lue that has shown the ability to be an elite coach with adjustments game to game in these series. And he doesn't mind taking the L like game 1 and 2 to learn a team's tendencies and make the necessary adjustments to kind of shut down that team and win like 4 straight. So the Clippers are in good spot. They need to just stay healthy. That's like they just been cursed with bad health. They need to stay healthy and hang around this 5-4 spot. Maybe if you can sneak into number 3, that would be awesome. I wouldn't want to face the Pelicans in the first round, but outside of that, like these other teams at top of them in the Western Conference, definitely beatable. Even the Grizzlies, as much as I like the Grizzlies, definitely beatable. Next is the Kings, the darlings of the Western Conference right now. They've surprised everybody right now. I'm also competitively surprised by the Kings. I didn't expect this shit, but good for them. Good for their fans. They've been needing this for years now. Their offense is just amazing. Like watch them, you just see their offense pop off. Herder adding Herder. I think the Hawks made a mistake letting Herder go. Kevin Herder. I think they made a huge mistake letting him go. I think the Hawks, you know, they lacked the foresight to keep him. I think he was. I mean, when they made that run to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Hawks. Not to digress, Herder was a huge part of that. He was consistently a good wing for them, and he's also a very good 3-point shooter, but one of the best in the league. And just letting the guy walk out the building like that, I don't remember if they traded him or just let him go through free agency, but like that's a mistake. You could have easily rectified that. If your goal is to win around Trey Young, you keep him. They could have became another what, a mini Splash Bros duo. Like who knows? Like Herder's that good of a 3-point shooter, and he's also long and lengthy and athletic, so he's not like the worst defender in the world. I would have kept him. Like maybe he's like a better version of Kyle Korver. Who knows? Which is work. Like if you get Kyle Korver that can play a little bit more defense, like why wouldn't you keep that guy? This asinine De'Aaron Fox is doing his thing. He looks good. The rookie that they have looks good. Um, Demontis Sabonis, very surprising how good he has been defensively and offensively, doing his thing, like helping out this team, being a facilitator, and is really opening things up for everything. And this team, like, obviously, I don't expect much from them, but who knows? Maybe in like a series, they can steal a couple games. Maybe they win a first round series against the Pelicans. Who knows? Do I think it happens? No, but you know, who knows? They get sevens. They could probably win 2 games and surprise and build on this. So the Kings are building something. Took them a year long time, but they're building something. Number 7, the Jazz. If I had an overachievers like award, I'd give this team an overachievers award. There's a bunch of overachievers right now. You know, kind of like, they have a new coach, new system, new players. They're trying to kind of show that like these players are kind of trying to prove a point to NBA that like we belong here. We're not bums. We're not going to tank for Wembanyama. Understandable. They start off the season hot. They've kind of like cooled down a little bit. There is a chance this Jazz team can start just crumbling a little bit. We've seen this team start hot, and then after like the league has kind of adjusted to them a little bit, they start becoming this middling team. So the Jazz are kind of like they've regressed to the mean now, but they're impressive. I like Markkinen the way he's kind of broken out. Clarkson looks like he's leveled up his game. Conley for some reason this is the year Chris Conley decides to, I mean not Chris Conley, Mike Conley decides to be healthy. Um, there's I guess a little bit out of Taylor Horton Tucker, even though if we look at his numbers, I'm pretty sure his numbers are not that great. So, number 7, the Jazz they're overachievers. They may get into the playoffs, they may get bounced out the play-in. They get in the playoffs, they get bounced in the first round. But they're overachievers. This is their whole rebuild. And Danny Ainge must be happy because he has a lot of tradable assets now, and he's going to take advantage of that. The fact that he got that many draft picks from the Cavs for the Donovan Mitchell trade, I still think is gonna bite the Cavs in the ass. Because as good as Donovan Mitchell is, like he's not gonna have you out of NBA championship. So what was the point of the trade? If you're not gonna win an NBA championship anytime soon because the East is strong at the top and you can't break through, what was the point of the trade? You're supposed to trade for a player that breaks through if you're gonna trade like 8 NBA draft picks. Trailblazers at number 8, 17 and 15. They're above 500. Another team that's surprising, guys. Another team of kind of overachievers. I mean, they still have game. If they actually hold that 8 seed and they actually get to the playoffs, which I highly doubt because the Mavericks are behind them. But if they hold that 8 seed, they'll make it through the play-in and they get into the playoffs. You know, they're cool. They'll win. Like they'll win maybe a game. Chauncey Billups has impressed me. I think he's been a good coach. I'm happy for him because a lot of people came out this his first season as coaching. They tried to really bury this guy like he was a terrible coach and like he doesn't know what he's doing and he has a checkered past. Like give me a break. They always do that with black coaches. Have you noticed that? They always try and pull out the dirty laundry and say these guys are not great at X's and O's. Come on, give me a break. But Charlie Billups, he's a Ty Lue's protege as a coach. Smart guy. He was a smart player, and he's doing a good job with the Trailblazers team. Anthony Simmons is breaking out. Jeremy Grant is doing his thing. Like, keep the score together. Keep on building something. I like to rebuild around Dame. Do I think they should have traded Dame and McCollum last season or did something instead of re-signing to a huge contract? Yes. If you really want to talk about winning championships, yes. But at the end of the day, I think the Trailblazers understand like they're never going to be this team that is just at the top of the Western Conference expected to win championships. They also do need to sell tickets, and they're definitely selling tickets this season, keeping it interesting. So good for them. Number 9, the Mavericks. They're they're weird. 16 and 16 is weird. They're hovering around. The Western Conference kind of been tough this year. The emergence of the Kings and Jazz being better than expected probably has ruined some of these teams with like major playoff expectations. Like kind of surprised them. I think by the time we get to the All Star break, a lot of these things will mellow out. They'll settle down. Maybe the Warriors and Mavericks start rising back to like the 4 or 5 spots. But the Mavericks are kind of like I guess Western Conference Finals hangover. Like they're kind of coming out the gate slow this season. But we know with Luka Doncic, it's only a matter of time before he goes on a stretch where he basically secures a good seed for them in the playoffs. Like realistically, Jason Kidd after a last season where he kind of like surprised the NBA and really impressed everybody. This season, he's everything's kind of regressing back to the mean. You know, a lot of negative regression here. I think adding Christian Wood was cool, but like remember he has to play defense, right? Like, it's not really about offense for the Mavericks. Like, offense is fine. Mavericks' problem was defense. You need guys that can defend. And adding Christian Wood doesn't really help your defense. But their offense is probably great though. And then they have JaVale McGee, but JaVale McGee is he's like a shot blocker. He's a rim protector. He's not really a guy that can really he's not gonna really move the needle on defense. He's an average shot blocker has some athleticism. Which is died. The Mavericks are another team that should get Siakam or go for him if he's available. And if the Raptors are willing to, maybe just trade as many first round picks as you can to get him. I think Siakam would really do this team a really good service. They need a wing that can guard Luka's opponents that are also dominant wings. They need a wing that can, because I remember one series of Mavs, it was the Mavs versus the Clippers, and the reason why I think they lost that series was because Kawhi Leonard was just going at Luka. And Luka just started to get tired up because he had to go play defense and offense. And he's not really built for that physically. And I guess I'm not gonna say mentally, but physically, he's just not built for that like other NBA stars are. So they need to really consider maybe getting everything for Siakam. See what you can do to get Siakam. Maybe if you have to like go all in and trade multiple firsts, I mean this window is a huge opportunity. The Western Conference is not as strong as it is supposed to be this year. So if the Warriors somehow are like if Warriors somehow kind of like regress after winning the championship last year and they continue like this, wouldn't you want to be in a good spot to make a run to the finals? Your only major opponent would be the Clippers. Now, granted, the Clippers have beat you all the time in the playoffs, but like you rather have only be one opponent than like I think all these other teams, Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Suns, Kings, Jazz, Blazers ahead of them. I think you can handle them outside of the Clippers. I think you can handle them. We know you own the Suns. we know what the Mavericks can do to the Suns, right? We know what they can do, right? So you know that's really it with the Mavericks. On to the Timberwolves. Same kind of deal. They're just a dumb team. Like they're just not being developed properly. You could tell, like, with these guys, they miss Carl Anthony Towns too. But they're a dumb team. Adding Rudy Gobert was kind of stupid. I didn't see how it's gonna work because Rudy Gobert, yeah, he's not like he brings ring protection, but the problem is teams when they go 5 out, he has issues with 5 out. That's one of his major issues, and I also think he's a soft player, slightly soft, not like soft, but like he's just a little soft. Got a little bit of that European softness in him. He just does not like, especially in against teams that are like grinding it out, like grinders. I don't think he does a good job as rim protecting as people think. He gets dunked on a couple times and stuff like that. Like he's not. I think he's a little overrated, but he's very good still. Still a very good shot blocker and defender. It's kind of surprising they're at 16, considering that like their defense is supposed to be better. But then again, the coach for the Timberwolves, it looks like he doesn't have any control over this offense. Like these guys just do whatever they want sometimes. Anthony Edwards is still taking like poor shots. I don't really see the development where he's developing to become an efficient player. I just see this guy developing into become like this nice volume scorer wing who has a Kobe obsession. And a lot of these wings gotta understand, like, if you were obsessed with Kobe, one of the things that Kobe did had was like he did listen to Phil Jackson at some point. He didn't just fucking just chuck up shots and do whatever. He listened to Phil Jackson at some point. So Tim Wolves gotta figure that out. And if they figure that out, they could be a dangerous team. But they need Cat, Gobert, Anthony Edwards, and what's it called? What's his face? Old boy that snitched on it, his teammate, who was dating Iggy Azalea. I forgot his fucking name. Fucking, I'll think of it later. But that dude needs to start playing better too. Warriors at 11th, 15-18. Surprising, but remember before the season, they had a lot of turmoil with the Draymond Green being punched in the face. Draymond Green was all offseason with Kiki Kin. I'm new media. You know, these niggas can't tell me shit. I'm feeling myself. Like he was feeling himself, and now after all the drama that's gone on after winning the championship last season, this team is 11th in the Western Conference, and a lot of it is due to the fact that Draymond is not playing as well as he should. He has regressed this season, and the defense has also regressed because of it. Klay Thompson has also shown his age this season. Like this team's just getting older. And Steph Curry is really the only guy. Steph Curry and Jordan Poole are really the only two guys that are consistent and really good. And now Steph I was hurt. I think he was hurt. So, now they have to rely on like winning games without Steph Curry, which if you checked out the Warriors history, winning games without Steph Curry is very difficult for them. So I think they're gonna actually drop more. I think this team is going over a championship hangover. They very well may like make it to the playoffs. They might be a playing team, but if Steph is hurt for long and he doesn't come back fast, this team might drop more to like, you know, 12, 13. Not out of question. They need to get shit together because Steve Kerr needs to get shit together because, it's not a good look to be this bad, be this poor after a championship run. At least be like a top 6 seed out the play in. So Warriors need to figure some stuff out. Do I think they can? Yeah, we've seen it before, but you know, better be careful. Steph is hurt. Better hope he comes back quick. OKC Thunder. They're hanging around. Shy Gills Alexander's really good. They just need to keep on collecting talent too. They just need to keep on collecting talent. The Chet dude, Chet Holmgren. The fact that he hurt this year sucks because their record could probably be better if he was playing this year. But that was the concern when they took him. Like the guy was gonna get hurt right away. And whoop de doo, the guy gets hurt right away while training for the NBA season. You know, I was watching some of these programs during the summer where he was at. Like, you know, when you're number one overall draft pick, if he has injury designation around him, if he has like an injury prone designation around him, I wouldn't want him to play in programs like crazy. I would tell him, hey, shut it down until um shut it down until like summer league, so we could because now we have to wait for this kid to like bulk up or come back to play his actual rookie season. Sucks though, but I guess it gives them an opportunity to get in on the Wembanyama sweepstakes. So if you can get Wembanyama, go for it. Next couple weeks, if record doesn't improve, if there's no shot of being a playing team and building some momentum, um, I would consider wait until the All Star break and then sit shy for a little bit. You know, just maybe sit out some guys, sit out some key starters, start playing some of these backup players that are kind of G League caliber a little bit more. That's just me. That's what the Spurs are doing already. So that's really my take on the Thunder. 13 Lakers. I kind of covered this earlier with earlier posts. This Lakers team is come on, they're lifeless, they're rudderless. When they start to get a little bit of life, with Anthony Davis starting playing at MVP level, he gets hurt. Russ is playing better this year, off the bench. Crazy that it took him a year and some change to a season and some change to finally figure out like, oh, if I play off the bench, I can face the backups and dominate the backups. He couldn't recognize that his little big ass turtle in the head couldn't recognize that earlier. Just so weird to me. LeBron, he's too old to carry this team. Like every time I watch this team, it's like, man, like, and I'm not even like the biggest LeBron fan. Like, people will say like I'm kind of a LeBron hater, even though I don't think I'm a LeBron hater. I think I just kind of see through him a little bit more than other people do because a lot of people I think worship him a little bit too much. But even I didn't expect this bad of season for Lakers these last 2 seasons. Like they're kind of they're just fucked. And they traded away all their picks. The Pelicans have their pick. If they're bad enough and they give Pelicans a chance to get Wembanyama, like think about that. What if the Pelicans are able to get Victor Wembanyama because of the Lakers and their pick swap they have this season? Because of the Brandon Ingram trade or the Anthony Davis trade. The repercussions of that. That's gonna be crazy, man. You're gonna like they've already made the Pelicans so good with their draft picks and adding guys. Like this Lakers team is like, you know, that would be the worst case scenario if they're bad enough to get into the lottery and get high enough lottery shares that the Pelicans luck into the first pick in the draft. The Pelicans have their pick. That would be that would be absurd and just hilarious and very sad for Lakers fans. Like number 14 Spurs. Also in the tankathon. Start off the season like a pretty good record, and then they just start pulling out starters. Pop is not low. I think Pop gets it. He wants to really get Wembanyama. I think he understands like, hey, this team is not gonna like, this team is not gonna be great. Like, no matter how much I try and like scrap out these wins and squeeze out all the juice out this orange. So why not go for one of the best European prospects ever? Bring him into my building. Have a good history with European players and like try and do something with him next year. Let's go ensure we get him. I get it. I get it, Spurs. I get it. The GM, Popovich, even the fans kind of accepted it. You know, this I guess is the new NBA. Tanking's okay. Taking I never seen a team kind of tank this early in the season like this. Some of these teams, but with Wembanyama on the horizon, I understand it. Makes you wonder though, like, isn't the NBA supposed to have this tournament going on mid-season or an All Star break? I wonder what's the issue, like the incentives for that. I don't understand why they're making these teams kind of like try. Like they're trying to force teams that are tanking to try. Like honestly, tanking is probably the best chance to get better. Because like a lot of these teams, like a lot of these small market teams, are not going to get better through free agency. All these stars want to play in big markets. They want to play for the Lakers, the Nets. They want to play for the Warriors. They want to play for like teams that have like that like to go all in for championship aspirations. So, and the same thing is with the Rockets. Rockets, you just hope that like their draft picks or the young players start to get better too, and they develop. I actually didn't think that. I think the Rockets are actually trying to tank less than the Spurs, but the Rockets are just so young and rudderless and erratic that they're actually worse than the Spurs right now by a game and a half. Looks like, or a game, whole game. But if I'm the Spurs, I would probably if I'm the Spurs and Rockets, like just continue with the tank. There's nothing really here to see. Um, I hope Jalen Green and the young guys on the Rockets can develop well. Uh, continue to give Alperen Sengun minutes. Like get this team, these young players show signs of life. Like get to show signs of life. And if you luck into Wembanyama, it's just icing on the cake for next season. Maybe you can be this breakout team. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I just want to give you guys a quick little I guess pod about and overview of what I thought about the NBA before All Star break. Before Christmas break. I'm sorry, before Christmas. So this is where the teams are at right now. If I had to make a prediction who's going to the NBA championship this season, I actually like the Celtics. I think the Celtics could redeem themselves this season. The fact that they're just good without Ime Udoka shows that this team has a lot of resiliency. If not the Celtics, Bucks and Nets are my second and third options. Um, and my dark horse right now that I think people are sleeping on is the Clippers. Pelicans are honorable mention if everything goes right, but the Clippers, if they hang around this fifth spot, watch out. They're gonna be, um, they're gonna be in tune, and they're gonna be hard to stop. So I'd say this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little overview I did, and I'll see you guys later. And enjoy the rest of your day or whatever you're doing. Peace.